don't wanna commit, but you still wanna come.
Is my mind you didn't give me? Yes, I think high of me. It's my body, so don't touch it. You can't treat me as you please. It's my heart, I'm not open to give it just to anyone. It's his will, you can change it. In my life, I will be done. I don't wanna sacrifice for these things here on earth. I don't wanna sacrifice. It just don't matter. I don't wanna get caught up in this madness of popularity and fame. I ain't to present my body as sacrifice. Only unto thee is my voice. I will speak it even when it seems to be absurd. Lift up my eyes so I can see him, visualize my blessings as they occur. Open my ears so I can hear him, want to hear his voice loud and clear. Never to mistake what he is saying, don't wanna be out of his will. I don't wanna sacrifice for these things here on earth. There are some things here in life
been living my life different since the day I found peace. Some flowers, dandelions, poppies blooming all around me. Feels like I'm not confined to limitations like space and time. I've been expanding my bandwidth, there's something immeasurable. Take nothing for granted and watch your life become pleasurable, like it did for me. Never been this free. Wanna know what I've been doing lately? I've been dancing in the garden of truth. All the flowers are dancing with me. So high from life, I ain't never ever gonna come down. Are you with me now?
Lately life's been feeling like a movie. I've been bubbling like jacuzzis. I'm not trying to front, but now I do it. I want like Lil Uzi. You do you and I'ma do me. I've been turning over new leaves. I'm so high up in the sky, you think that I just rode a doobie, but my drug of choice is peace. I'm so at ease, I'm trying to spread this feeling from the floor to ceiling like disease. Something crazy epidemic. Happiness is living in me just like a tenant. And I bet that if you let it in, then you'll be feeling what I'm feeling. This amazing feeling. Like if you blink, you miss, now you're convinced it can't be real. You rub your eyes and pinch yourself, but nothing that you try will help. I know because I did the same thing. Only thing that's working is dancing in this garden of truth. All the flowers are dancing with me. And we're so high from life, I ain't never ever gonna come down. Are you with me now? Tell me, are you with me now, baby? I just wanna know, can you tell me?
Music Nation. All urban music followers under one umbrella. Urban Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of urban music. Free memberships are available now. urbanmusicnation.ca. Urban Music. One voice. Strength in unity.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Good evening. It is another Sunday. It is the Music is Everything podcast. I am your host, DJ Elegance. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, all the iLive listeners and all my peeps and friends on Facebook. So we have have another exciting installment of our podcast this evening. Very shortly, we will be bringing in our special guest that we have with us this evening is long-standing DJ in the community, a pioneer in a lot of regards, DJ Mel Boogie. So we'll be bringing her on shortly. But I just wanted to welcome everyone to the podcast, let them all know what the show is all about, and who I am very quickly. I am a DJ-preneur. I do corporate events, weddings, private events, all kinds of special types of functions. I also do private lessons for individuals. And then I also run a music and leadership arts-based program in schools where I share my passion and love of music and work with youth in the city of Toronto from middle school all the way up to high school. So it's a little bit about me, and the idea of the podcast is really where I talk with different event creatives, people from the music, club, corporate, and wedding industry, and we chop it up. We talk about best practices. We talk about things that we see happening in the industry. And I guess the idea is for people who want to jump into the field is to kind of uplift our craft and help people understand a little bit more about how hard professionals work in this field. And then for those who may be getting a degree, those who may want to enter this field, I guess is also to kind of illuminate to you some of the behind the scenes things, some of the magic, some of the other things that happen while we all work so hard to provide an amazing music experience, an event experience, whatever it is. So that's a little bit about myself and why I started the podcast. And I guess it's been an interesting week. Lots going on. Obviously, my ears and eyes have been glued to what may happen with the school year as we do run our program at that time. So there's lots of things that are being talked about, the ministry, with the union, with the teachers, and we're hoping that we are able to, in some capacity, deliver programming for our students. So if you want to learn more about what we're doing there, it's lovemusicinitiative.com. Before I go any further, I do want to say a special hello to two boys that I know are listening, my two rambunctious and energetic sons, Braylon and Bryant. Daddy loves you guys, and I just wanted to say a warm hello. So be good for mommy and make sure you go to bed. All right, guys. So listen, we're going to jump into things with our special guest in a matter of moments here. What we're going to do is we're going to dial up a track just to kind of get things warmed up, and then we're going to get our special guest on to join us. So this is a song that I really like. It just kind of has a nice vibe. So this is a new song by Tiana Taylor. I played it in past, but I like it. I'm going to play it again. It's called Friends. We're going to play a little bit of music and then come back with our special guest. Music is Everything podcast. Let's go.
Tired of saying the same thing. You be playing games, man. If I had it my way, we be walking all day. I'm good at giving back. Be careful what you do with that. Oh no, you gotta give it back. In the mirror from the back. Oh no. Sometimes I wish that I never was your lady. Sometimes I wish that I never let you taste me. You fold under pressure, get your shit together. You wanna do better, you gotta do better. You want me to settle, you gotta do better, babe. If it ain't me that you want, if it ain't me that you want, boy, that's cool. If you wanna leave right now, you ain't gotta be locked down. Go do you. Calling is you up right now. I'm just trying to tear that room upside down. You ain't ducking in and out alone. Is you? That ain't really good
good for my trust issues. If I ain't the one, I'm the two. Don't you go leaving me no room to assume. Tell me now, is you ducking in and out of love? Is you that ain't really good for my trust issues? Sometimes I wish that I never let you hear this. Sometimes I wish that I let you finish your healings. You fold under pressure, get your shit together. You want me to settle, but I cannot settle. Cause I'm too rich to settle. You gotta do better, babe. If it ain't me that you want, if it ain't me that you want, boy, that's cool. If you wanna dip right now, you ain't gotta be, we gotta be, we gotta be.
All right. So, Mel Boogie, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, we got you. Give me 1 second here. Trying to do some things in the studio, a little shuffling here. So yeah, how are you? How are things going?
Everything's we're maintaining, doing the best we can with what we got.
No, I hear you. I appreciate you coming on. I know it's Sunday, you're a mother, there's so many things on the go, but we appreciate you jumping on to the podcast and joining us this evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've just tuned in, this is the Music is Everything podcast, and this evening we have with us a pioneer, a legend in the Canadian DJ scene, the music industry scene. DJ Mel Boogie is just a recipient of the Hip Hop Pioneer Award last year. She's also a recipient of the Black Canadian Award for DJ of the Year. She is a stylist, underground, college radio, as well as female DJ of the year. These were in separate years. And then also was given a Hip Hop Pioneer Award by the Manifesto Group for their series called WOM Manifesto. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. And, there's so many things that I want to talk to you. But first of all, hold on a second. Let's welcome you properly. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Thank you for being on the podcast with us. A big warm round of applause for you.
Oh, nice. I thought it was like the thunder that was happening earlier, that torrential downpour. But I'll take the applause. Thank you very, very much for that dope intro.
No problem. We'll have the horns later.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, just obviously watching you over the years, listening to your show, knowing other DJs who know you, having the opportunity of talking with you, several opportunities over the years. I mean, 25 years is an amazing feat. Obviously, so many stories and things that I'm sure you can share. But I guess I'm curious, like, how did you sort of get into DJing, and do you have a musical background other than DJing?
Well, I got into DJing just from, I guess, listening to Ron Nelson back in the day. CKLN was like the go-to place for hip hop when I was growing up. So this is before like DJ X and Mastermind, who are, also legends and pioneers in their own right. But for like my era, it was definitely Ron Nelson and the whole CKLN movement. And I listened to that, with my older brother, who was just getting into rapping at the time. And then I guess throughout high school, I just started to gravitate towards the guys who were into hip hop, because back then there weren't any females who were into hip hop like that. But even before that, outside of the DJing, I played piano.
Okay.
And I played at the Royal Conservatory of Music. I taught piano for about 16 years. And in high school, I was like one of the band kids. I played drums. So I have a love of not only DJing and playing music that way, playing records or whatever, like playing actual instruments. I've had a guitar in my house for like the past 3 years, and I just haven't gotten around to teaching myself the basic chords. So that's the next thing on my bucket list to take care
Okay, you can YouTube that and get caught up to speed.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I mean, we've had Grouch on the podcast. We've had Agile on the podcast, so big up in respects to those guys. And they've also mentioned, I know Agile in particular, talking about those days with like Ron Nelson and listening to those shows, kind of recognizing that at that time, hip hop music or even quote unquote an urban scene, we didn't really have those kind of outlets. So could you kind of talk a little bit more about how maybe those shows, like how they may have impacted you?
Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, like because there weren't any outlets or because the outlets were so few and far between. If you loved that genre of music and you were part of the culture or you wanted to be a part of the culture and learn more, that was pretty much the only place to get, be a part of the real hip hop culture. I know I'm dating myself, but going back then, we didn't have the internet to kind of look stuff up and see what other people were doing, especially in New York. But a lot of us had family in New York and used to do those summer trips and holiday trips to visit family and come back with records and come back with all the dances that our cousins were doing. We've always been seen as New York's kind of younger sibling because of that.
Right.
But as time went on, Toronto and Canada developed their own sound to what we know it as today. But you hit the nail on the head. Like, we didn't have all the resources that people have now, so we had to do a lot more research and dig a little bit deeper and just try and absorb as much as possible when we did have some exposure to those outlets.
Right. So many ways I want to go with it there, what you just said. So do you, I don't know, I guess because things were not as so widespread or easily available to find or to get, do you feel that there was maybe a different type of authenticity or a different feel to the music maybe in those sort of mid to early years of hip hop or no?
I think it was just different because that was my time, so to speak. I feel that was like the best time because I have some of my best memories are associated with music that came out at that time. Like when Wu-Tang just dropped, I remember that time I was in my last year of high school. And like I said, there weren't any other. Actually, Wu-Tang actually came to Toronto to do one of their first concerts during Caravan and Weekend, and none of my friends wanted to go. But just things like that. And I think like the last thing I want to do is, become one of those old hip hop heads that's locked in the 90s because the 90s was great era of music as far as hip hop, R&B, and just black culture, period. And there's no doubt that it's impacted the generations that came after it. But that's not to say that there isn't, great music that's being made right now by the next generation of artists. So I just want to make that distinction. I'm not suffering from old head-itis.
Nice. No, I appreciate that. And definitely, the goal of tonight is definitely to not go in that direction. So I'm curious, obviously 25 years in the game. I'm curious, like, who maybe early on or even maybe still now, who was your biggest inspiration and who do you have a lot of respect for?
The list is so super long. I don't even think we have enough time in this show, but one thing that we hear a lot about right now is representation and being able to see yourself when you hear music or when you look at television, when you see movies, that sort of thing. And there weren't a lot of black women who were at the forefront of hip hop, especially in Canada. So the one person that, or one of the many people that I always like to pay homage to is Michie Mee.
Mm-hmm.
Because she broke down a lot of barriers, and she was the first in many areas that she doesn't always get the credit that she deserves on that front. But obviously, Maestro Fresh West, seeing what he went through as far as developing his career and being the first on a national basis was incredible. And then, like, south of the border, obviously people like, DJ Premier, all the greats, man, KRS-One, Bahamadia, like, the list goes on and on, Queen Latifah, and then Lil Kim, Foxy Brown. One thing that I do like to do when I'm playing is definitely make sure that I include female voices in what the listener is hearing, because you can go through a whole night and there's not one female artist that you hear. And that goes back to the whole representation thing and hearing yourself in the music. So that's something that I definitely try to do when I'm on the decks.
Right. I was gonna say, Mel, I guess there's maybe a little bit of I don't know if maybe your headset is brushing against something. But it's just kind of giving a little bit of like feedback. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be more careful then.
Yeah, so that it sounds okay. It sounds like something's just shifting a little bit, but it's okay. I can hear you perfectly. It just sounds like at times something is shifting. So you sound good now.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so I guess you've mentioned a lot of people. I guess I'm curious. I guess, like being a female DJ, is it hard to play some of today's music or just certain songs in general, knowing that there isn't that reputation there? Like, is there a bit of a challenge there for you? Not a challenge? Is it just music? Like, talk to us a little bit about that.
When I first started, I would play anything, and that perspective wouldn't really matter as much. But as I kind of grew older and more mature and kind of took a look around the musical landscape, there are songs that I don't play just because the misogyny level is just too high. And as a woman and as a mother, like I some things I just can't play. I just can't do it. But at the same time, it is music. It is music. So a lot of the time you'll find me playing radio edits, and I know people love shouting out the dirty words, but I mean, sometimes the cuss words are just gratuitous. They're not like contributing to the telling of a story. So I think it's up to like my personal discretion, how I personally feel about certain songs. There are some songs that I just won't play, and there's other songs where if I'm in the moment or I'm playing a certain vibe, there's certain songs that I will play, but it might just be the radio edit.
Yeah.
It depends. It's a constant battle as being a woman who's playing music of a genre that's well known for its misogyny.
Right. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. I've had some conversations with friends and other DJs, and for myself, being a very proud mobile DJ, doing a lot of functions in middle schools and high schools, corporate events, weddings. Yeah, I mean, radio edits is probably primarily what I play all the time, right? Yeah. And sometimes people give you a certain look, but also being a father as well, that there's certain songs that sometimes don't jive with your spirit. So
yes,
I appreciate that. I had this interesting conversation with another DJ one time, and he along this line that you're talking about mentioned he came into a spot where a group of DJs would normally play, and I guess one of the servers mentioned to him saying, oh, like when she saw him there, she was like okay to see him, but she kind of commented, oh, I wish that this other female DJ was there. And he thought that was kind of an odd remark for her to make. And he said, why did you say that? And her remark was, well, because with a female DJ, they find that they play, you know what I mean, a little bit more of a balanced type of night or an evening where there's more songs that cater to the ladies. And as you mentioned, maybe some of the songs that have these heavy misogynistic messages, or just songs that maybe some women may not appeal to, right? I'm obviously drawing huge generalizations, but I just found it interesting that she made that really key remark that in some cases, again highlighting, in some cases that a male DJ may steer the night a certain way, whereas a female DJ may steer it down a different way. So I thought that was kind of just an interesting thing to kind of, for myself, to be aware of and make sure that I have a bit more balance in the programming, right? So
yeah. Just to comment on that, I would agree to a certain degree, but I think if you're a good DJ and you're well seasoned, you know how to read the crowd and read a room, and you can see like who's there and who's vibing. And if people aren't vibing to what you're playing, you can kind of steer it in a different direction. And that means that you can't just play to yourself and what you want to hear.
Right.
Or if you have, I don't know, a prepared playlist or whatever that you pull from, like you have to take the listeners on a journey, especially if it's like a corporate event or a wedding where you're setting a vibe for the night. Read the room, you know, look up from the turntables and from your laptop and all of that, and see who's there and who's feeling the music, and that kind of helps you indicate which direction to go in. For sure.
No, I appreciate that. I think it's a great reminder for people on the outside. There's a lot of DJs who listen, younger DJs, and to just kind of drink in some of that advice and those tips. I'm curious, so what is your take, I guess, on female DJs, maybe in the city, maybe across Canada, you know, from your vantage point? Is there enough? Should there be more? Like, are there lots of DJs that are emerging? Like, what's your sort of take on female DJs?
I think there's a lot more female DJs now than there were when I was coming up, of course. I think that one thing that kind of irritates me is, like, similar to MCs, people sometimes feel like there can only be one female DJ and one female MC. And so behind the scenes, there's sometimes, I guess, people who are trying to pit women against each other. But for the most part, I found that because I didn't have anybody to look up to that way, any female DJs to look up to when I was coming up, I definitely try and support whomever I can. Like, I've put on parties with all female DJs, and I've DJ'd for the Honey Jam since '95. And I make an effort to get, you know, up-and-coming female DJs, well, just up-and-coming DJs, period, on the show that I do on Vibe 105. And that's because I know that support wasn't always there for me, but because I'm in a position now to give it, I definitely try and do that.
No, that's awesome. No, I think that's amazing. I think we always need more people to be helping others and create more spaces. So yes, I know you have the show on Vibe 105, Studio B. I'm wondering, like, talk to us a little bit more about the show, sort of why you may have created it, how it's morphed into what it is today, just for the listeners to be a little bit more aware of how you're giving back. Talk to us a bit more about Studio B.
So before Studio B, I was part of a show called Droppin' Dimes Radio, which was Canada's only all-female hip-hop show. And I did that for over a decade, pretty much. But I didn't start that show. That show was started by Gemini, who you might know from your morning radio show Airwaves, and she actually left Droppin' Dimes to move over to a different station, and then I kind of stepped in with Lindsay Bess, and we did our thing there. When Droppin' Dimes came to an end, it just ended just because even though it had been a great place for a lot of women hosts and DJs and that sort of thing to kind of get their first experience on the airwaves, I think it just had come to a time where it was time to come to a close.
Right.
And then I started Studio B because I still wanted to do something on radio, but I wanted to make sure that it was a lot more inclusive of everybody. I didn't want people to feel like, oh, I can't participate because I'm not a hip hop artist or whatever.
Right.
So with Studio B, and the reason I call it Studio B is because if you've been to a large recording studio, they have Studio A where all the stars go, and that's the VIP service. They have the plush cushions and all the nice lighting. They have the incense there.
Oh.
And then there's Studio B where all the up-and-coming artists come, and that's more of what I wanted to push, all the up-and-coming artists, because I know there aren't a lot of platforms, especially on traditional radio, for artists to get their music out. So I wanted to make sure I set up something nice for them. And last year, I joined forces with Channel 9, whom I've known since high school. And and we've been doing the show ever since. So basically Studio B is a place not only to premiere new music, but when we have a special guest for the night, special artist or politician or a small Black business owner, it's an opportunity to have a conversation with them and for the listeners to get to know them on a more personal basis.
Right. No, that's it's amazing. It's amazing that you have that kind of platform and to be able to give that kind of attention, right? So,
right.
I know that. Yeah, I mean, from the days of Dropping Dimes to now, there's been, quite a journey. I guess I'm curious, what continues to drive you, because you've done so many things through your career. We'll, can kind of continue to talk as we're going, but. What continues to drive you to do, what you do?
Good question. I was just asking myself this the other day, just because, times are changing, and what we're going through now as far as COVID is greatly affecting the entertainment industry and DJs and everything I do. DJing has always, and music period, have always been a source of like sanity for me and release and relaxation.
Talk about it.
Oneness, right? So I have the 9 to 5, like I know a lot of us do. And that, can be soul crushing at times. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But, the love of music is, and being able to DJ and being able to share love and positivity that way, that's what keeps me going.
Right.
And then when, I bring in artists who are able to either network with somebody they met at the station, or because of our interview, they're able to leverage that into more airplay across other radio stations. That definitely means a lot, and I really enjoy being a part of that, seeing that growth in artists, and then getting to interview them later on in their career and just talk about the things that happened since the last time we connected. So whenever somebody comes to the studio, and I'm sure this is the same for you too, when they come to the studio, it's like they're coming to my house, they're coming to my basement. It's a place of, like I said, of love, good energy, positive vibes. And that's pretty much what keeps me going, especially times like this. I do have to say, DJs pretty much saved lives out there throughout this whole quarantine situation. So yeah, and I'm under that. I'm in that category as well. Like, it's definitely picked up my spirit on days when the world just seems extra negative. But it's the music that kind of pulls you through. That's what keeps me going to continue doing it to today.
Right. No, that's awesome. So I just wanted to let you know I've got my Facebook Live up, and Miss Pert, Danae, is waving, saying hello. So
hey, Danae, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I know for myself as well, there was a little bit of a feeling that the sort of wool had been put over my eyes, or that like the carpet had been ripped out from underneath my feet with COVID. So I guess now that we're almost 6 months, 5 months into this. Like, what have you been doing sort of to maybe get by or manage? What have you been able to do?
Well, musically, I've been watching a lot of, like I said, a lot of the DJ performances, a lot of the IG lives and that sort of thing. And I've been very selective on what I've been doing. I haven't done a whole lot. But one thing I did this past week was partner with Ivana Santilli, who is an artist in the city. She's amazingly talented. She sings, she plays the trumpet, she plays the keys. So she did her thing while I was DJing, went back and forth, and that gave me a lot of life and encouragement to continue doing that kind of thing. Right now I'm in the studio. I'm doing my my mixes with Channel 9, so that keeps me going. Because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking of work tomorrow, but I'm just trying to put it aside so I can enjoy myself in the music. And then, there's conversations like this. I've been doing a lot of podcast interviews with other DJs that I respect, like yourself. And it's dope just to realize that, we all kind of have the same battles. We're all trying to figure stuff out the same way. But because we're able to network and we're able to kind of give each other support in different ways, means that we can all come out of it and find solutions to the obvious barriers that are going on right now, like there's no clubs and that sort of thing. But I mean, as things start to open up, we just have to kind of look at different ways to continue doing what it is that you love. Yeah, no, I would agree. And it's an interesting time. I think being creative is, the order of the day. So I think the thing that you did with Ivana Santilli is amazing, and still reaching out to people, connecting. It is interesting. I think the online world and platform, but I think although you're not able to see people, I feel that the music, it just really, for me, I feel like is just the power of music, that even though there's a screen separating us, but just the music in and of itself is just giving people that connection, helping them to remind themselves of those really amazing moments that we've all shared over the years, or a song brings them back to a time in their life, and to be able to facilitate that, it must be an amazing feeling. So yeah, definitely. And the thing with streaming too, and you'll know this, is that you can still engage with listeners. Like you just mentioned, Danae was in the chat and she, said a hello. There's still an opportunity to engage with listeners just in a different way. You don't get to see them necessarily like dancing in front of you, but they can definitely let you know if they're feeling you, if they have any questions, and they talk to each other. And there's different platforms out there other than the traditional clubs, and hopefully we'll get to a point where we can be able to do that again safely. But until then, at least there's other options for us to still kind of enjoy and share that music. No, absolutely. So I wanted to I guess maybe chat a little bit about some of the things that you're connected to and affiliated with. And I was curious, like the core DJs, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about like who they are and what that is all about, your affiliation with them. Sure. So Core DJs is basically a coalition of DJs from around the world. It's more than just a DJ pool, because there's actual meetings and retreats, and it's just a way to kind of connect with each other and see what different DJs are playing in different regions and that sort of thing. Okay. So yeah, there's different I guess arms of the coalition. So there's Canadian Core DJs Canada, Core DJs US, and I believe there's a few different members in the UK, South Africa, just different regions, and we're all able to kind of connect and trade music and do that sort of thing. Awesome. And how's that, like, has that been advantageous for you? I guess, like, are you getting pre-releases of music and things of that nature, or
I'm trying to get a little bit of the juice in terms of like what happens in these meetings, and how this helps you really, I guess, as a DJ, as a host. I'm curious. Yeah.
It's just more or less just networking and being able to meet people and develop relationships. Through developing those relationships, sometimes you're able to get gigs from that. Obviously, this is all before COVID.
Yeah.
But and vice versa, you're able to bring people up or vouch for people to be put on a flyer up here because that because they're a core DJ, they're a certain tier of DJ, and they're professional and they're like the top in their field in their market. So yeah, that's in addition to the music, but I think it's the relationship building that's even more valuable.
Yeah.
Because you might not be music, you can pretty much get almost anywhere online, but developing those relationships and being able to do that, especially over a long period of time, is priceless.
Right. No, it's again a great reminder just for all the listeners, all the DJs on the outside listening, that just relationship is key. I know that probably 3 weeks ago we had Baseline on from Dean Forces, and he was talking a lot about relationships in terms of touring and all those international journeys and stuff like that, that the relationships are really key. So thanks for that. So I'm curious, I mean, being an open format DJ, having the opportunity to play so many different genres, so many different events, your long list of clients that people have reached out to you for, obviously speaks to probably your very vast taste of music and your adaptability. I'm curious, what's your favorite genre to play?
It used to be hip hop because that's what I grew up listening to, and when I first started DJing, I DJed on actual turntables. Like, it wasn't CDJs or a controller; it was like actual vinyl. But now, it really depends on how I feel that day. Like, some days it's gonna be house music. Some days I'll feel like playing a crazy soca set. It really depends. Some days I'll feel like playing like classic 80s. Like, it really depends on how I feel that day, and if I'm playing for a crowd, what the vibe is. So it's I don't really have a favorite per se anymore. I just go on vibe.
Right.
Pretty
right.
much.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. So I'm curious, I guess, you've been in radio, in the industry for a while, and involved in quite a number of shows. And I know that right now, currently, the future of G seems to be maybe a little bit cloudy. I'm wondering, maybe from your experience and your vantage point, being in the industry a while, I guess, like, what do you think is maybe a key thing that needs to happen to have sort of the urban scene to grow? Like, what needs to happen? I mean, is it a lost cause because potentially a station may go? Is there a different way that we could be doing things? Like, I'm just curious to get your insight on things.
I definitely don't see it as being a lost cause, because when you say urban, we're really talking Black music, and to lose a platform, lose one of the radio stations, means that Black music will suffer, our artists will suffer, because we don't have that. They don't have that as a platform anymore. As far as what else we can do, that's something I've been asking myself for years, to be honest. Like, I've been involved in different advisory boards, like with UMAC and Junos and Polaris, and I definitely want to see Black music grow in Canada, but we forget, like, outside of the main cities, outside of like Toronto, Montreal, and basically Vancouver.
Right.
Toronto, I mean, Canada is still pretty rock and roll. It's still rock and roll, still country music. as much as we think Drake rules the world, like outside of the major cities, you'll hear him on commercial radio, but that they feel that because they're playing that one artist who is amazing, that we don't need to play any other Black artists.
Right.
So I think support starts at home. And when I say that, I mean support the artists from your city, and from your country, from any artists from across the country who are really doing it. And you, like, as a fan, tell a friend about it, post their music, share their music. And it can start like that. It's not all about radio. Like, nowadays there are so many other platforms for artists to get their music out. And, you know, there's TikTok, there's IG, obviously, and there's DJs who play on Twitch and other platforms. So I would say that the DJs need to support the artists more by actually breaking new music. And the fans need to support it more by sharing the artist's music. So I think it has to be a collective effort. It can't just be on one group of people or one generation of people. Like, we already know that Canada, there isn't a lot of a foundation for Black music, so what are we going to do about it instead of just complaining?
Right. Yeah, and I guess that concept of breaking new records, I guess, do you still find that this is a thing that happens? I mean, you've been in industry a long time, and obviously understanding from the earlier days where DJs would go to a record store and physically hunt and dig for certain records. And then a lot of times there may be some things kind of pre-packaged for a DJ to just pick up because they're some of the tracks and things that the labels are pushing. But I guess in today's climate, do you find that there's enough of that happening, that DJs are maybe even aware of other artists, or do you just find that potentially more artists are just playing what's on the record pool sites?
I think a lot of DJs are taking the easy way out because having those 8-bar intros and that stuff pre-packaged, it does make life a lot easier. But there are a lot of DJs who still break new artists and still try and promote up-and-coming artists. Like Andre 905 is a big one that comes to mind because he kind of utilizes his contacts of other DJs to spread music, and that's what it's all about. There aren't a lot of record pools that actually accomplish two of the things that we talked about, and one was networking, and the second thing was sharing music. So by him sharing music, that kind of gives it a cosign almost. So other DJs who are on his mailing list, for example, would, actually try and take a listen to it and help break that artist. So I think, like I said, it has to be a collective effort. It can't just be on the DJs or just on the artists. I think if we all kind of work together, we can definitely bring the Canadian music industry into at least the 2000s. At least. Never mind the 2010s, 2020s. Let's just try and bring it into the 2000s. And I think a lot of it starts with support. And yeah.
Sounds like, I know you've been on many panels. It sounds like potentially this is a talking point on a panel or an agenda item, right? That could be talked about as just that collectivism and how more things get spread. I mean, I know for myself, I guess one of the things that kind of maybe bugs me at times, I think, is some artists, they don't have sort of like a DJ pack available even, right? So if you ask for music, they don't have like an instrumental, a clean, a dirty. It's just sometimes the way you're getting the music is a bit challenging. So I know that that's a little bit of my own self peeve. I guess I'm wondering about yourself. I mean, what are Obviously we like to get a little bit of juice every now and again, and wondering, are there some things, I guess, maybe about the industry or just with DJing in general that might, for lack of better words, bug you a little bit or maybe irritate you? Or are there some things that you would like to see change? Would this be one of those things? Are there others?
Yeah, that would be one of those things. For artists who are, trying to reach out to DJs to support their record. It's not that we don't want to support. You have to remember, a lot of DJs are bombarded with so much music. It really is a challenge to try and keep track of it all. Mm-hmm. But B, if you have a package, which, like you said, a DJ pack, which has the clean, the dirty, the instrumental, and a cappella, or at the very least a clean and a dirty. Mm-hmm. So if it's a radio DJ, they don't have to spend, 10 minutes going through it to check for cuss words.
Right.
You're helping them so they can help you. If you have a bio and you're going to be doing an interview with somebody, or you're going to a station, or you're trying to introduce yourself for the first time, have that stuff ready. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, there's people out there who can help you write that. That's actually how I got into doing publicity in the first place, because as I started doing radio, I realized that a lot of the artists didn't have any kind of press kit. They didn't have bios. They didn't know how to send their music. And, I saw that gap, and I was able to help artists get that stuff together.
Sounds like a workshop, just putting it out there.
Yes.
So I know that you did mention a little bit earlier that, you've sat on panels like Polaris and UMAC and even the Junos. And I guess I'm wondering, you did mention that I think naturally in Toronto, as music fans, as Black music listeners or listeners of music in general, that maybe the vibe is that Toronto's sort of like the epicenter of all of Canada musically. But in fact, as you mentioned, that outside of some of the urban centers, it's still a very rock and roll type mentality. And I guess I'm wondering, in terms of the longstanding history potentially of, at the Junos, of certain artists not being recognized, or potentially hip-hop music or world beat or reggae or soca, these genres being more distinctly classified. I guess I'm wondering what types of conversations need to happen at that level to start seeing a shift. Is there something that we can do on the grassroots level? Is it supporting other key executives that are in those roles? How would you see a bit more of a widening and a bit more of a recognition happening at that higher level?
I think you did touch on a few things that I would recommend, like reaching out to some of the key executives. That's a big one. But I can only speak for the rap category. That's the advisory board that I'm a part of. And I know that the committee has made a lot of inroads, a lot of effort towards making sure rap is recognized, that the award is presented on camera, that we have at least one artist from that genre performing during the show. And some of it has been an uphill battle, but as people start to realize that, this genre is very important. It's part of the Black culture. Like I said, it's like the number one selling genre in the world. Mm-hmm. And it deserves that recognition. And for the most part, people are very open to seeing and making those changes. It's just that it doesn't happen overnight. And I think people expect to see things happen, at the drop of a hat, but it takes a lot of time behind the scenes to make things happen that you can actually see. Right. So long story short, there's people who are at the table who are fighting for Black music and fighting for artists. But just because you don't always see that doesn't mean it's not happening. Right.
No, and I think also just helping people understand that the genre of hip hop is still 46 years old, 47 years old. So it's still a very young genre as well, right? Compared to a lot of other industries where maybe the roots are a little bit more planted. But so I guess Mel, what's going to happen is I guess at the top of the hour we have to pay some bills. I'm wondering if I can squeeze you for an extra 5 minutes after the hour, just to kind of ask you a few more questions. Do we have a little bit more time?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So I got some people on the Facebook Live. We're going to be going to a commercial break in about 20 seconds. We are with DJ Mel Boogie, Canadian DJ, multiple award winner. And we're going to be hearing a little bit more from her after the commercial break in a few. Hang on.
And you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hey, this is Jermaine Robbins, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Yo, this is Kiana O'Quinn, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you.
Can you tell me, baby? I want me now.
Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. We want to put you in the mood for whatever the night has in store. I'm playing only the best feel-good party rocking, body-shaking music from funk to soul to reggae to R&B, house to salsa, and much, much more. We call it The Groove each and every Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Keep it locked. It's the crowd pleaser, baby. You know how we do. We'll see you on the air. Peace.
Hey. Hello and welcome. It's your girl Claude, aka Miss Ouch, right here on iLive UK. Be sure to tune into my shows each and every Saturday between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. My shows are called The Independent Injection because you can expect to hear deep and meaningful, fresh neo and bassline soul, slow jams and gospel mixed with a little bit of nostalgia. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.
Attention, all musicians, bands, associations, clubs, and organizations that represent urban styles of music across Canada. Now is the time to rebuild our urban music nation. All urban music followers under one umbrella. Urban Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of urban music. Free memberships are available now. urbanmusicnation.ca. Urban Music. One voice. Strength in unity.
Hi, my name is Derek Roach from Level 2 Music Productions in Toronto. I've recently got together with some great Toronto musicians to create a dedication track called How About a Round of Applause for our Toronto and Ontario Hospital frontline workers. For this, we say thank you. We also created a fundraiser page to help raise money for PPE masks desperately needed. To donate to this fundraiser, please go to Facebook and type in the heading, How About a Round of Applause, PPE medical fundraiser, and donate what you can. For the song, you can go to YouTube and type in How About a Round of Applause dash for Canada's frontline workers. We thank our sponsors Harris Institute, Personas, Audio-Technica, and Rob Papin Virtual Synth Software for your support. Big thanks to you in advance and Jason Henry from iLive Radio for supporting us for this worthy cause.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
All right, we are back. Welcome, Music is Everything podcast. We are here with DJ Mel Boogie. She is a hip-hop pioneer, award winner, Black Canadian Awards winner, a stylist, underground DJ, college radio show, and DJ of the Year. We're chopping up with her, talking a little bit about females in DJing, the radio industry, and we just kind of ended talking a little bit about how at the grassroots level we can start trying to see a bit more of a change with more artists, black music being recognized. Mel, are you still there with us?
I sure am.
Okay, awesome. So, I thank you so much for jumping on. This is sort of the last segment of the show, and it's a fun segment. I hope you find it fun.
Okay.
I call it rapid fire, and simply what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask you a question, and I just literally want you just to answer with the first thing that comes to mind. Don't give it too much thought or dwell on it. All right?
Okay.
Okay, so what's left on your DJ bucket list?
Go on a world tour.
World-
I got to do a cross country tour with the sorority, and that was such an amazing experience that I definitely want to do it on a larger scale. So that's definitely on the bucket list.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Which, so, obviously you mentioned before you're on turntables. I've seen you on a controller, maybe CDJs. So, for the listeners, there's all kinds of knobs and all kinds of things that make DJ's ability to manipulate the music and give it different effects. So, which DJ effect is your favorite?
Maybe the echo or the pull up.
Pull up? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. The echo is mine too.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is one song that you can recite word for word?
Probably DeWick, Gangstar, and Nice and Smooth.
Okay.
Yeah, or Ante Up, the remix.
With Busta?
With MLP, Busta Rhymes.
With Busta.
Actually, I can't get past the Remy Ma verse because usually I don't go past that when I play it. But like those first two verses are fire. It's kind of hard to follow Busta Rhymes.
Okay. What is one party that you used to spin at that you wish that you could bring back just for one night?
JJ Rock and myself used to do something with Musically Insane, P Plus, and RC from the Real Frequency called Girls Love Hip Hop 2. And it was something that was catering to the ladies who love hip hop, but it was dropping dimes and a Real Frequency. And it was just like all positive vibes, all like real hip hop.
Oh, yeah.
My
Definitely.
apologies.
Yeah, that's how you felt when you left at the end of the night, for sure.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'd love to bring that back for a night. It was a great experience. We only got to do it maybe like 4 times, but it was dope.
Okay, awesome. And then last question: what is one genre or a subgenre of music that you feel isn't getting the attention that it deserves?
Believe it or not, soca.
Wow, really?
Soca music, the energy from soca music, outside of seeing like the DJs play and do their thing throughout the quarantine, soca music, the vibe, the energy level, that has done wonders for my mental state, my sanity, my positivity. And I know that soca is world music, but I don't think it gets the love that it really deserves. Like, it's a workout music.
Mm-hmm.
There's elements of storytelling. There's comedy. Like, there's so many different like layers to it, and so much history tied to it that I really think it doesn't get enough credit for what it contributes. Not just to society, but just to music, period. There's
Right.
ties to like Afro beats, there's ties to dance music. And I mean, there's artists like Major Lazer who have taken it and kind of put it even on a larger platform, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like soca, that's my heart right now, to be honest.
Okay. Awesome. So I have 2 last questions. They're very simple, but I guess where can people find you? Where can people follow you to keep up to date with all the amazing things that you're doing?
Sure, I'm DJ Mel Boogie at DJ Mel Boogie everywhere on Instagram, Twitter. DJMelBoogie.com is the website, and you can catch me on Vibe 105. The URL for that is vibe105to.com. I do a show every Tuesday night, 8 to 10 p.m. with Channel 9 called Studio B. And yeah, we're still on the air, still doing it. And yeah, just reach out and say peace, and that's how it happens.
Awesome. So I just want to say, I really appreciate you coming on my podcast and chopping up with me. I know we talked earlier in the week, and just like that and other conversations, it's always been good vibes and good energy. And I really, really appreciate you taking the time out to share with us your journey and talking about just, how you're getting through COVID, what you're doing to stay busy. And I definitely really look forward to, hearing more things that you're doing. So I'll definitely be, watching it as I do. Do you have any final thoughts for the listeners on the outside? Maybe any up and coming DJs or even more experienced DJs? Any final thoughts in regards to anything music or DJ related?
I would encourage everybody, especially like up and coming DJs, to do their research as far as, the culture itself, because the culture is just as important as learning how to put music together. I think that's very important, and it's often overlooked. The great thing about technology is that it makes DJing open to so many more people. It makes it so much more accessible than it was traditionally, but I think a lot of the steps are kind of skipped, unfortunately. Just even like listening to the music as opposed to looking at your screen to see if beats match up. Use your ears, use your senses. And that you'll be surprised at how much of a better DJ you'll become by relying on those other senses as opposed to just watching your computer screen. And I just got to say peace to you. That's my final word. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this. I really appreciate it. I could talk about this stuff all night.
I know.
But we don't have that much time, but I appreciate you inviting me to be a part of your podcast.
No, thanks for coming again. I know you got some stuff that you're doing in the studio, and I'll let you run and get to it. But yeah, thanks again. Thanks for coming on. And I guess when things lift, part 2 to my show is actually doing interviews and having people come in and do guest sets. So something we can look forward to a little bit, maybe down the road at some point, is having you bless us with your musical taste and styling. So yeah, thank you.
Dope. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, peace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you had it. We had DJ Mel Boogie on the show with us today, and just really appreciative of a DJ pioneer being with us on the show and sharing her knowledge, her insights, and just her journey. And you could just hear the wealth of experience and all the nuggets and information that she's shared regarding the record industry, how things have evolved and changed. And yes, if you're just tuning in late or listening on Facebook Live, then this will be posted up again for a replay. But now what we're going to do is until 11, the top of the hour, we're simply going to vibe out and just play some music. So we're going to start off with a track that we had from an artist and producer and DJ that we had on not too long ago. His name is DJ Agile, and this is a song off of his new EP. And we're going to get into some music. So you guys have some requests. Watch on the Facebook Live. Feel free to drop some requests. Kind of like a R&B vibe from now to the rest of the night. But I'm open to other suggestions. So let's have some fun, iLive community, and let's play some music. Let's go. Here we go.
Picture perfect on the wall. I can see our love painted and on display like art. Mona Lisa, work of art. Expensive like Picasso, Monet, and Van Gogh. Tell me if you bout it, yeah. Cause I'm all about you, all about you. Tell me if you bout it, yeah. Cause I'm all about you, all about you. Keep me on your mind, it's not a waste of time. If you let go and I let go, and in time we can fly. Keep me on your mind, it's not a waste of time. If you let go and I let go, and in time we can fly. Passion burning, burning bright. Sky covered in colors by your side both day and night. Mold me in your image, sculpt me in your truth. You and me together, there's no better view. Tell me if you bout it, yeah. Cause I'm all about you, all about you. Tell me if you bout it, yeah. Cause I'm all about you, all about you. Keep me on your mind, it's not a waste of time. If you let go and I let go, and in time we can fly. Keep me on your mind, it's not a waste of time. If you let go and I let go, and in time we can fly.
Music is Everything podcast.
$20,000 ain't nothing. Baby, you can get whatever you want from me. How you twerking on a Sunday?
R&B flavor, let's go, let's go.
Touching the ceiling. When I'm with you, I can't breathe. Boy, you do something to me.
DJ Elegance. DJ Elegance.
There's
something I think that
you
should
know. Let me take y'all back, man.
Love you. Let's take
as I do so well.
Wasn't nothing like that. Man, it wasn't nothing like that first time. She was in my math class. Long hair, brown skin with the fat ears. Sat beside me, used to laugh, had mad jokes. The teacher always got mad, so we passed notes. It started off so innocent. She had a vibe and a nigga started digging it. I was a young and straight crushing, trying to play this shit cool. But a nigga couldn't wait to get to school. Cause when I seen them thighs on her, and them hips on her, and them lips on her, got me daydreaming, man, what? I'm thinking how she rides on it, if she sits on it, if she licks on it, make it hard for me to stand up. As time goes by, attraction's getting deeper. Wet dreaming, thinking that I'm smashing, but I'm sleeping. I want it bad, and I ain't never been obsessed before. She wrote a note that said, you ever had sex before? Yeah. And I ain't never did this before, no. And I ain't never did this before. I ain't never did this before, no. I wrote back and said, of course I had sex before, knowing I was frontin'. I said, I'm like a pro, baby, knowing I was stuntin'. But if I told the truth, I knew that I get played out, son. Hadn't been in poopy since the day I came out one, but she don't know that, so she done wrote back and told me, oh, you a pro, homie? Well, I want you to show me. My mama gone for the weekend, so Saturday, baby, we could get the freakin'. That's when my heart start racing and my body starts sweating, baby. You don't woke my little man up. I'm thinking how that body look naked when you laying on the bed. Teacher, please don't make me stand up. I wrote back like, yeah, baby, sound like a plan. Still trying to play it cool, sound like the man. But I was scared to death, my stomach turning. Talking shit, knowing damn well I was a virgin. But, and I ain't never did this before, no. And I ain't never did this before. I ain't never did this before, no. You know that feeling when you know you finna bone for the first time. I'm hoping that she won't notice it's my first time. I'm hoping that my shit is big enough to fool with. And most of all, I'm praying God don't let me bust quick. I'm watching porno trying to see just how to stroke ride. Practice putting condoms on, how it go right. I'm in a crib now and the palm sweating, with a pocket full of rubbers and an erection. That's when my hands start touching and her face start blushing and the neck roll over on top. And then she get my pants unbuckled and her hands start rubbing on me. Ooh, girl, don't stop. It's time for action. Pull out the condoms real smooth, yeah, just how I practice. But right before I put it in, she flinched and grabbed it and said, I wanna get something off my mental. I can tell you a pro, but baby, be gentle, cuz. And I ain't never did this before, no. And I ain't never did this before. I ain't never did this before, no.
Baby, could you hop on a flight to find me? I feel like I need you tonight beside me. You're still a world away, and you're still waiting for your papers. Been feeling like the government wants us to break up. iPhone XXX, FaceTime saves us. I feel what you feel when you're far away. When you're far away. When you're far away. I feel what you feel when you're far away. It's been 100 days since I kissed your face. Distance ain't it, because you and I both committed. No dumb boys, no thirsty women could ever come between this. It's different, we trust each other. We both been burned by old lovers. Your touch, it helped me recover. Icebox, but you brought me summer. I feel what you feel when you're far away. When you're far away. When you're far away. Oh, I feel what you feel when you're far away. It's been 100 days since I kissed your face. I'm a mama, I'll never hurt you. I'm a mama.
You are now rocking with DJ Elegance.
Sometimes we say things that we really don't mean. We do things in between the lines. We should do more to stand out. I'm sorry if I made you feel less than who you are, a little insecure. Oh, you're the shining star. I wanna spend my nights with you, my life with you. Oh, baby, baby, please wait up for me till whenever I get home. I know that you're all alone, thinking about what you gon' do. I hope that you'll see it through. Ooh.
yeah, here we go.
You're my MVP. Tonight I plan on getting you to sleep. To put it deep. Baby, you know I'm a
DJ Elegance.
So what you trying to do to me?
You're in the mix.
Dirty to me. Let's take a shot of Hennessy. Tell me what you want. How you want it? Up and face down with the loving. Baby, let me know when you need it. 4-course meal chop down when you need it. Make me curl my toes. What's the quickest way to turn you on? Morning, middle of the night. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. I will do it all away. Make you scream my name. I keep it nice and tight. Boy, relax and let me ride. Do the things we like. Oh, we don't want one, see it, feel the wood. I'm a nasty, so I'm a like I should. Know that you been peeping, I'm a savage. In a plus, so if you want it, you can have it, yeah, yeah. Climb up on us, make it a habit, yeah, yeah. Fucking with a bitch that's never average, yeah, yeah. Tell me what you want from me, yeah, yeah, yeah. Baby, let me know. 4-course meal chop down. Make me curl my toes. What's the quickest way to turn you on? Morning, middle of the night. Tell me what you want.
Tell me all the things you see in a kid. Is it me or is it just the life that I live? Just tell me what it is, cause I can make you feel how he never did, as long as you keep it real. And yeah, I know I'm young, but I'm old enough. I'ma stand in that, have you folding up, face down, that up, girl, you know what's up. Eat it up, beat it up, make your toes curl up. I got no time to waste and no time to chase. Gotta move at Christian's pace. Hold it down when it's all at stake. On your curves, girl, I'm slowing my brakes. No guarantees, I'ma make it home safe. I'm so stuck in my ways. Out of town for a couple of days, but when I'm back, I'll be right
flavor.
on my way. And I got nothing to say. No games, girl, you know my style. I got the recipe to make.
I know you got all dressed up for the club. Waiting on Nick, come pick you up. Baby, ooh, when I saw you walking out the
Music is Everything podcast. DJ Elegance. Here we go.
Wrecking the set.
now whip it straight back to the crib. Gonna give you something that you won't forget. Baby, ooh, I just wanna get you out the clothes. Ooh, I just wanna see you dancing slow motion. We can take our time, baby, in slow motion. We can take our time, stay here in slow motion. Try to let your head down and take a sip. Don't put this joint between your lips. Baby, ooh, why don't you make yourself comfortable? Ooh, while I go and put this tongue on you. So tell me when you're ready. I'ma speed it up for you just for a second. Just for a second. Then I'ma slow it back down and keep it steady. Ooh, baby. You are out the clothes. I just wanna see you dancing slow motion. Slow, slow. We can take our time, baby.
got a huge thing. And if you could get it and put it into shade, I ain't never scared. Ooh, I like the way that you keep it up all night. You make me feel it in places that I never felt this way inside. That is the greatest of all time. You are the greatest of all time. I like to give you a hard time. Tell me again that it's all mine. So juicy. Hey. Give me that, give me that, give me that. Give me that, give me that, give me that.
Juicy, said I wanna get to know you. Juicy booty tonight. So show me that, so show me that. Girl, I'm trying to make you juicy. Juicy booty, girl, tonight. So turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around.
Party hard, party hard, party hard for me when I'm gone. Party hard, party hard, party hard. Party hard, party hard.
Wrecking the set.
You are now rocking with DJ Elegance.
Party hard for me. Party hard, party hard, party hard for me when I'm gone. Party hard for me. Party hard. Yeah. Blue cups only. Call up all the homies. You could come too even if you didn't know me. It's a celebration. I finally made it. Time to get wasted. Go ahead, get faded. Yeah. Go ahead, pour that sake. Right in front of Sanchez. I'm up here chillin' with Miyagi. Got my grandpa Teddy right here beside me. Yeah, party hard, party hard, party hard for me when I'm gone. Party for me. Party hard, party hard, party hard for me. Yeah, party hard, party hard, party hard for me when I'm gone. I really need you to party hard, party hard, party hard for me. Yeah, it's a party on the boat. Somebody make some gumbo. Shout out Yamamoto sent your lumbos. Rose gold decorations. Do it for your girl in commemoration. Look, I'ma need y'all dancing. And when you cry, don't stop crying till you laughing. Yeah, I'ma need a bonfire on the beach. I'ma need everybody there to make a speech. Shut down the block and have a party in the streets. And keep partying for weeks. Then go to Simply Wholesome for a feast. Keep it going just for me. Peace. Party hard, party hard, party hard for me when I'm gone. Party hard, party hard, party hard for me. Yeah, party hard for me when I'm gone. Yeah, sing along to the songs that I sung to you.
You know what I need right now. It's you right now. What's about to go down? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I need right now. I'ma have to settle down. I'ma have to lock you down. Yeah, yeah. I don't need nobody else, girl. I want you to myself. I don't need nobody else. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I need right now. Oh yeah. You know what I need right now. Oh yeah. You know what I need right now is you. Yeah, I've been watching you for a minute, it's true. Yeah, partners tell me holla, I just tell them it's cool. Yeah, you been on my mind all the time. I just love the way you look. I be peeping how you move. I want you to myself, I can get you in the mood. Every time I come approach you, why you want so rude? You be smiling in my face, trying to act brand new. That's the thing I love about you. You don't make it too easy. I am not the other guys, and I know you don't believe me. I don't need nobody help, girl. I want you to myself. Give me one chance, I don't need nobody else. Yeah. You know what I need right now. It's you right now. What's about to go down? Yeah, yeah. You know what I need right now. I'ma have to settle down. I'ma have to lock you down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't need nobody help, girl. I want you to
Music is
myself.
Everything podcast. DJ Elegance. iLive Radio. Let's go. R&B flavor. Come on.
Now who the keep it juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you? I'm the
I'ma start first. First of all, it gotta get better cause it ain't been worse. Really? We step out fresh to death, double hearse. Ooh, send a text, my place to your place. Where we going? Sexy lace, ooh, can I get a taste? Right now, right now. Slow grind while I'm gripping on your waist. Come and shout it, sign this waiver for this pain you about to take.
All this money that you talking, I already spent that. Every dollar that I gave you, I need every cent back. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no. I don't wanna keep it juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you. Now who the keep it juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you. I'm the one that kept it juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you. Now who the fuck gon' keep it juicy for you, juicy for you, for you.
For you I ride like I ain't scared to die. Privates on the flights like I ain't scared of heights. No. Tiffany just to get with me. You never crystal clear as you and me. Yeah. I keep it wet cause my diamonds all baguettes. You ain't thinking through at all if you think it was a threat. I cut them off and I did it for less. Ask my ex what's his biggest regret.
All this money that you talking, I already spent that. Every dollar that I gave you, I need every cent back. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no. I don't wanna keep it juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you. Now who the keep it juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you. I'm the one that kept the juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you, juicy for you. Now who the fuck gon' keep it juicy for you, juicy for you, for you, for you.
Tried to call a million times and no one won't stop. Calling to apologize, it's got my heart stop. You found some things you never should have found, never should have found. What now? But you found it anyway, you found it anyway. Said you never trust me again. Said you never love me again. Said all that you need is your friends and you'll just be fine. Said you never trust me again, trust me again. Said all that you need is your friends and you'll just be fine.
Hello, no one's available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Just got back from a trip, caught me with a nut. I can see it in your face, you gotta make a split decision. Is it worth it? You won't spare me any mercy. Said you never trust me again. Said you never love me again. Said all that you need is your friends and you'll just be fine. Said you never trust me again, trust me again. Said all that you need is your friends and you'll just be fine. Said you never trust me again. Said you never love me again. Said all that you need is your friends and you'll just be fine. Said you never trust me again, trust me again. Said all that you need is your friends and you'll just be fine.
It's all about that R&B flavor.
Baby, you're a one of one to me. Know that I should probably wife you up. Baby, I swear I'm done with these. Other women, they don't mean shit to me. You was trying to know me when they didn't know me. Girl, we fell in love, we both worked at the mall.
Way before the rollie, you was just my homie. You were trying to love way before I had it all. We working minimum wage. I need to see you. I switch days, meaning I switch shifts, revving my engine. Looking back ashamed, we were only a phase. Baby, you're a one of one to me. Know that I should probably wife you up. Baby, I swear I'm done with these. Other women, they don't mean shit to me. Yeah, I'm turning down the rest for you. If they call us foul, I'm fighting all the rest for you. You make me a better me, I make you a better you. Riding with the top off, looking like the letter U. Teaching you the language of the universe, Rosetta who put you on a pedestal. All eyes on me, but you love me when I had 7 views. You looking like I should go half on a baby with you. And if I'm wrong, I won't debate it with you. I own up to it, you rolled up to it. Stay not down for the curves, but I'm up to it. Come give me all that. You the only girl I call back. I tell these other women fall back. They be hating on the preview. They think that it's only for the entertainment like E-News. I can see the sequel. Let's do more I-dos and less redos. Baby, you're a one of one to me. Know that I should probably wife you up. Baby, I swear I'm done with these. Other women, they don't mean shit to me. Are you tired of I call? I've been waiting for you. Say you got me, I'm calling it off. Want me to tighten up, but you ain't never playing fair. You ask me if I'm choosing my dreams over you, I say hell yeah. Yeah, I know love come and goes. I got so much love I could show, but I got so much left to do. Can we roll, can we roll, can we smoke, can we talk about it? Like, time to address the elephant in the room. Need to have a convo, been on my mind like, Time to address the elephant in the room. Say what's on my mind. Don't make me choose, I might piss you off. If I let you make me slip and fall. Oh, you want some compromising? Tell me what you providing. If you want some compromising, yeah. Oh, you want some compromising? Tell me what you providing. If you want some compromising, yeah. I know love come and goes. I got so much love I could show, but I got so much left to do. Can we roll, can we roll, can we smoke, can we talk about it? Like, time to address the elephant in the room. Need to have a convo, been on my mind like, Time to address the elephant in the room. Don't make me choose, I might piss you off. I'll be damned if I let you
never sees a rose without a thorn. Laughing like the movie scenes was love without a flaw. If only I knew, would it have led me to you? Patience and communication, I'm still learning those. Took a couple heartbreaks and some tears for me to grow. And now that I've grew, I'm finally ready for you. Take our time with this one. Let's just stand and not fall in love. You can't win till you lose. I didn't know love till I met you. Till I met you. Let me be your peace of mind and night when we're alone. Just know you can talk to me when you're feeling vulnerable. Can you promise through every sun and moon that you'll be honest?
I was just focusing, taking some time to escape, appreciating how they make wine from grapes. What is it about Cuban cigars? Is it the taste? Should go to France and cop vintage bottles by the case. I just had a discussion about some women's philandering husbands, she love them. Do marriages last anymore is the question. Cause I done went down the line with many women who fine. Gave them bags of Vuitton, peekaboo Fendi too. It's unspeakable things they do, sneaking with other dudes. Lost your sweetness, you be freaking, it's me that you accuse. Wow. And I'm getting too old for this is loneliness. Homebody needing someone to kiss and like the OG with. And to chill and listen to oldies with. In raw silk, cause that's just a cozy fit. I swear my life was getting stressful. It wasn't special till I met you.
Take our time with this one.
Wasn't special till I met you.
Let's just stand and not fall.
Oh yeah, beautiful music. I Live Radio.
You can't win till you.
It's all about you. It's all about me, DJ Elegance. New music by Victoria Monet.
Met him about 2 months ago. Said his name was Jim and that he'd make me better than before. So we work it out every day. We be making heads turn slow.
Feel the vibe, feel the vibe.
Say about the grass, what you water that's gon' grow. So I made it grow. Yeah, yeah, I know you love the way I'm looking in my jeans. You wish that you could hold that. I know you love the way my body's sitting up. Yeah, there's a reason I walk like this. I walk like this. Had to send a video. I don't edit my pics. I work for it. I'm on mine. And when I'm walking by, I know the truth is. You wanna know how she get that like that? How she get that like that? You wanna know how she get that like that like that? Yeah, yeah. With them everyday squats, make it pop. Never had them shots, but she take shots. You wanna know how she get that like that like that? Yeah, yeah. When you see me just know, yeah, I earned it. Treat my calories like weed, yeah, I burnt it. Shout out to my trainer, cause he cracked that whip. It's the classic, just to see the way my sit like this. In all my fits, had to send a video. I don't edit my pics, I work for it. I'm on mine. And when I'm walking by, I know the truth is. You wanna know how she get that like that? How she get that like that? You wanna know how she get that like that like that? Yeah, yeah. With them everyday squats, make it pop. Never had them shots, but she take shots. You wanna know how she get that like that like that? Yeah, yeah.
I'ma take that, P. Diddy. Poppin' with my booty, and we bout to make a movie. Action, not tobacco. You know what to do, baby, pull it down south. You know I'm riding, I can recite it. Where are the sirens, racking up mileage? Now we on the island, slipping and sliding. Dipping in my ocean with our birthday suits. Sipping on a potion, this is what I'm gon' do. I'ma show you how I move a little bit. Turn the lights off, you say, ooh, little lady. You don't wanna fight it, you gon' lose a little baby. Hard cake, got the butter, keep it smooth, little baby. I'ma show you how I move a little baby. Turn the lights off, you say, ooh, little lady. You don't wanna fight it, you gon' lose a little baby. Hard cake, got the butter, keep it smooth, little baby. Round one, round two, round three, all up on me. Excuse me if a girl is out of pocket. I'm fired up like I'm riding on a rocket. Baby, you know, I don't even mind it. Beat it up like Mayweather with the juice. I do exactly what you say like Simon. I'm so faded with a cup and that deuce. Backing it up, pop the back of the truck. Keep wrapping it up, I'm backing it up. Ooh, I'm waking him up, somebody coming. I don't even need a gym. I just drop a little weight while I'm flexing on him. I'ma show you how I move a little bit. Turn the lights off, you say, ooh, little lady. You don't wanna fight it, you gon' lose a little baby. Hard cake, got the butter, keep it smooth, little baby. I'ma show you how I move a little bit. Turn the lights off, you say, ooh, little lady. You don't wanna fight it, you gon' lose a little baby. Hard cake, got the butter, keep it smooth, little baby.
Music is Everything podcast, iLive Radio. Track from Denise Dion. This isn't PG.
That my main chick. That my main. That my main chick. Yeah.
We got hits for days.
That my main chick. That my main bitch. Got a couple on the side that I hang with. That my main chick. That my main bitch. Got a couple on the side that I hang with. But you the one, baby. You the one. Only one that know where I'm coming from. You the one, baby. You the one. Only one that know where I'm coming from. I was on the sidelines, I didn't wanna try. You the only one that made me want a better life. All these people, they don't know what it's been like. Tryna come up on the other side. But if I say it, then I did it. I'ma always stay committed. That shit is cancer stick. Grinding on me like a dancer, big. You the only text I'm answering. That my main chick, that my main bitch. Got a couple on the side that I hang with. That my main chick, that my main bitch. Got a couple on the side that I hang with. But you the one, baby, you the one. Only one that know where I'm coming from. You the one, baby, you the one. Only one that know where I'm coming from. Like, woo. Lover, lover. I be like Shaggy every time I get in trouble. You caught me banging on the counter. It wasn't me. Saw me banging on the sofa. It wasn't me. Even caught me on camera. But you know the answer. She was just a dancer. That my main chick. That my main bitch. Got a couple on the side that I hang with. That my main chick. That my main bitch. Got a couple on the side that I hang with. But you the one, baby. You the one. Only one that know where I'm coming from. You the one, baby. You the one. Only one that know where I'm coming from. Yeah, you're mine. Cover on the side. Cover on the side. That my main chick. That my main bitch. Got a couple on the side that I hang with. That my main chick. That my main bitch. Got a couple on the side that I hang with. You the one, baby. You the one. Only one that know where I'm coming from. You the one, baby. You the one.
Music is Everything podcast. Come on, come on.
Missiles in the sky. No matter where I city, what you used to. Know I ain't exactly what you used to. Know you probably worried what I'm used to. I don't blame you, what you supposed to. Last time we fought was on that. Now you got me thinking about your own that. Me and you seem like it be alright. Long as we can keep it on it. Cup full, yeah, I'm on. Hold up, she ready. Leave it, you on. Tell me where I headed. Truly, a little you know I'm faded. Heart shape, and I love that. Come here, I'm down with it. I can't keep my eyes off your face. Let alone talk about your body. I've been waiting for so long. Girl, you just don't know. No, still dipping through the city with the top down. So you got that, show me what you about now. I ain't waiting for tonight, I'm talking right now. Still know my way around with the lights down. Shut it down every time you go low. Ain't nobody worried if we on a solo. You know when we creepin', it be alright. I kill it till you tell it's all mine. Yeah. Know your city, what you used to. Know I ain't exactly what you used to. Know you probably worried what I'm used to. I don't blame you, what you supposed to. Last time we fought, it was on that. Now you got me thinking about your own that. Me and you seem like it be alright. Long as we can keep it on it. Cup full, yeah, I'm on. Hold up, she ready. Leave it, what you want. Tell me where I headed. Truly, a little you know I'm faded. Heart shape, and I love that. Come here, I'm down with it. I can't keep my eyes off your face. Let alone talk about your body. I've been waiting for so long. Girl, you just don't know.
Only want my time when you waste it. You only hear my line when you waste it. They tell me you love me when you waste it. I'm only on your mind when you waste it. Tell me what you waste it. My time, my time. My time, my time.
Waste it.
My time, my time. My time, my time. What's up, where you at? You know I need that. You me drunk, then next day ask for feedback. You say you love me, boy, I don't believe that. You say I with your man, don't repeat that. I know what you do, I know what you do. Tell me when you drunk, tell me when you do. And you always on that late. You only wanna call me when you waste it.
All right, that's our mix for today. DJ Elegance, Music is Everything podcast. I want to thank my special guest, DJ Mel Boogie, for coming on. DJ Pioneer Icon,